This is not still Sharp and Still,
Absolutely is not.
which is a phenomenal cast, and you've absolutely got to check that out. Before we welcome you to the legendary Nerd-O-Rama and the Nerd-O-Roundtable, Cunningham, why don't you tell us a little bit about Still Sharp and Still?
Well, as you may have interpreted from the soundtrack, it is a public affairs program that we broadcast every Tuesday. We talk about current events. We sometimes throw a little pop culture in there. There's always humor, always insight, more than what you're expecting, and the occasional song may make an appearance as well. So
Oh,
we
snap.
please invite you to watch Still Sharp and Still right here on YouTube or the Book of Faces.
Church on the move. And now,
Boom.
nerds and geeks, here it is, the legendary Nerd-O-Roundtable. Yours truly, King Nerdificent Twilight Sharp in the building, joined by ladies first, Dr. Liz from the Freeway. It's crack a
Hi, everyone.
Dig the do, Sister Queen. Dig the do. Thomas Talking Cunningham. Oh, snap.
Hey,
man.
everybody.
Yeah, she's got a gigantic popcorn bucket. Love it. And the one and only Mo Kelly.
Liz and I will be right all night long.
Okay.
All
Oh, boy.
night long.
Sure,
Here we
sure.
go.
I mean, right about following fake news. Yes, absolutely. Setting it off with a recap of our latest edition of Daredevil, a back-to-back episode, which I thought really dug deep and really set the tone for what we're going to see for this whole series. A lot of people still felt it was slow. For me personally, I thought that the action when it kicked off, it was great, but the story that they're building, like for anyone who's read like the Daredevil storyline, which led up to his takeover of the Hand and New York as a whole and all that, I think that this story is leading into a very, very specific direction. And so far, as a comic fan, I really, really do love what this story is going. I think that there are a lot of surprises that are popping up in characters that we didn't give a damn about, previously. Then now, we see someone like the Swordsman step into the front and giving us another depth of this world that we're living in. I didn't think that I was going to love Hector Ayala's niece taking over the role as White Tiger, but what they did with her in this series and having her work from the dark and not, going up against big ass giant men and being only like 4'2" and 50 pounds. I think that this is a well-crafted development of this character who became a major player within the street level vigilante world in Marvel Comics. So far, this show is firing on all cylinders, but that is my take. Mo Kelly.
I can say that I enjoyed Daredevil. Episodes 2 and 3 were a little slow, and I have a bias when it comes to multiple episodes. When they say they're dropping 2 at the beginning or dropping 3, it's like, okay, they're not strong enough to stand on their own, and they want to make sure they keep the positive momentum going forward. I was fine with it. I wasn't in love with it, but I know it's better. Like, probably, I haven't seen the most recent episode, so I know it's better with what's coming. And there have been some other leaks around the net we've been talking about in the chat as far as what future episodes and future seasons may hold. So I am extremely excited that, long story short, they are taking basically all the Netflix universe and bringing it over to the MCU. So I'm good with that.
And the reason that they actually dropped 2 episodes last week was because they needed to squeeze the Punisher's one shot in, and they wanted to give the end of Daredevil enough time to stew and brew and be able to drop the Punisher one shot a week later and then be able to drop Spider-Man shortly thereafter, because this is supposedly all connected in a big world, even though Sony's acting like a straight up bitch and holding on to Spider-Man like it's your only hope. Let Spider-Man go.
Well, explain that for folks who don't know what Sony is doing with their monkey wrench.
So far, all reports are indicating that Spider-Man and Daredevil will not cross paths on the small screen, and it's likely not to happen on the big screen unless they do a Daredevil movie, because Sony owns the rights to Spider-Man, and Sony controls all television having to do with Spider-Man. Any cartoons, any series, anything having to do with Spider-Man, Sony controls those rights and will not let them go. They will not let go of any of the villains that are appearing in this next Spider-Man film or have appeared in any Spider-Man film, because they own the rights to them. So no, you will not see them trickle over into another MCU property at all, because Sony is holding on to the rights for dear life. The reason that we got all of those ridiculously horrible villain spin-off films is simply so Sony could hold on to the rights. They didn't have a real solid idea for Spider-Man, but in order to hold on to the rights to the character, they have to drop something. I don't know if it's every 2 years or every 3 years, but they have to drop something in order to hold on to the rights. And right now, they're holding on to those rights with dear life. And that's why I'm not as excited about this next film, because of Sony's control and because of the moves that they're making to block Spider-Man from really intermingling and connecting with the larger MCU universe by saying, no, you can bring folks into our film. We're not so sure about bringing Spider-Man into your films, because now we got our own 3-4 films coming out. And it's just a big mess to do all this interconnectedness within the MCU and hold on to Spider-Man for just projects like this. That's a problem. But looking at what they're looking to do with Daredevil, as you alluded to, Mo, all the leaks that are popping up online, where we are now seeing on set for season 3. So we already know season 3 has been greenlit and is filming. We have seen Mike Coulter returning as Luke Cage, and we have seen old boy returning as Iron Fist. Can't remember the dude's name. He's back as Iron Fist, and just came out today that right now the reason they brought that dude back is because Marvel is taking over, and they're going to give him the Marvel treatment, as they've done with so many characters that we've hated in other universes. We will see Iron Fist the way he's always been meant to be seen. So that's where that's at. But Tom, what was your take on it?
I mean, as far as I'm concerned, Iron Fist, the way he needs to be seen, is recast. I don't give a fuck what you can say about the Netflix series. Finn Jones was just very poorly cast. It was, to me, about Game of Thrones, and that he had gotten some shine from Game of Thrones. And so it's like, okay, let's put him in this thing because, there's heat. But he was never a credible martial artist, much less the master of martial arts with a magical Iron Fist, which is why I always called him Aluminum Wrist, because I could never see it for him. And he had no intensity. Like, there was one good scene where he was with Cage, and Cage, with his impenetrable skin, received a punch from the Iron Fist, fully activating his chi, and it created a shockwave that blew some of the little minions back. That was cool. But he was always the least martial artist in the room, period.
Yeah, true.
Now, when they gave the Iron Fist to Colleen, I was like, okay. Plus, just, Danny Rand is a byproduct of the era, right? So you had to have a white guy be the master of Kung Fu. And then you had Shang-Chi, and Shang-Chi is an Asian guy, which makes sense. Because even if it wasn't interdimensional, whatever, it made sense that you had an Asian presenting character who was the master of a predominantly Asian martial art. And so when they brought Colleen Wing in, first of all, Colleen Wing looked a lot better doing martial arts. There was not a single fight in which I believed that Finn Jones was beating whomever he was against, except maybe that brother or cousin, whoever the goofy looking dude who looks like John Malkovich was. But other than that, I just never bought it. And so Mike Coulter, extremely well cast, and a very satisfying 2-season arc. I wasn't as much of a fan of Bushmaster as I was of the Mahershala Ali character, Cottonmouth, or Mariah, quite frankly. It was still, it held together and it made sense. This street level guy protecting his hood, that works. the whole introduction of the big, huge Rand Foundation or Rand Corporation or whatever. I just never bought it, and he was just like a lazy bohemian. He never struck me as committed really to the Iron Fist. He was always like, "But I've got the Iron Fist, like I'm gonna punch you and stuff." I just never ever bought it, and so I know that Ryan is a super fan, and I'm glad for him. But
I think the only reason that Finn Jones is back is literally because of McBain's one-man crusade to revive the Iron Fist. I think they've heard it on this cast enough times that they said, "Hey man, this dude is real serious about making this happen. We got to bring Finn Jones back."
No one else was asking for it.
I know that's right. Not a single person. So, it is what it is. I am not anticipating being thrilled at his performance this time around either. So they're bringing him back. I get the sense of nostalgia, but I also get that they have recast people in the MCU a couple of times, and usually for the better. I don't think anybody is thinking that Ed Norton was a better Hulk than Mark Ruffalo. And I don't think that anybody, Terrence Howard looked the part of Rhodey, kind of like a playboy to counter to Tony Stark. But Don Cheadle, I think, has been a better War Machine, a better Rhodey.
He's been a better Rhodey, yeah.
Yeah. So, anybody could have been War Machine, but he was a better Rhodey. He played off of Tony better and was, willing to take the subsidiary role, whereas Terrence Howard was too busy trying to disprove the curvature of the moon or whatever his random foolishness is in any given day. And so, they've made good casting choices, and they have replaced people. They're about to try to replace somebody in another major role in the MCU. And they did it with Thunderbolt Ross.
Yeah.
I don't think it was a poor casting decision to cast Harrison Ford. The movie didn't do that well, but it wasn't bad casting to cast Harrison Ford as a grumpy old general guy.
Yeah. Dr. Liz, your take on our latest editions of Daredevil.
I love Daredevil. I think it's always an interesting show to watch. I watched the episodes. Look, I'm not bored at their discourse. So them engaging in the discourse, and of course how they brought in, now that the vigilante concept, it makes sense that they're going to set it all up for all the others, the street level, to be able to come in, because you're hunting down vigilantes. So it just fits well. I don't hate Iron Fist in the same way y'all do, but I get your points, and they're very credible. But I am going to say that I looked at I personally looked at the Netflix version of these as not very vital. I think they became popular over, they became more than what the MCU had anticipated to be, than Marvel anticipated, in my opinion. Because if you think of like the things that happened on Hulu, what was that? They didn't, they did not become
none of those shows. Yeah,
right.
Those shows
And
were all,
so I think that they casted people to fill these roles, and they didn't realize that they were going to just turn into whatever they turned into. Even though I think that they did put more money and more effort into Daredevil, which, to be fair, the Daredevil movie sucked. And so the fact that they were going to put money into this, I thought is great. And it turned out to be good. But as a whole, I just looked at the casting, not to say, I don't think that they were beholden to being anything true to anything except, like, of course, Daredevil. I just thought that they were just trying to fill a role. And to see what lands, and it's Netflix. And now it's kind of morphed into something else.
I'm hoping that To me, it was a bit of a spoiler. Some of the leaks that came out and some of the outfits that Mike Coulter was wearing, because those are pulled straight from
Yeah.
the run of comics where Luke Cage was running for mayor.
Yep.
And I'm wondering if that is what ultimately happens with this season, possibly ending with, of course, Kingpin being dethroned as mayor. That is where it goes, so that by the time, because season 3 is coming, of course, after Spider-Man, so there will be, point in time where we'll see what happens. But if everything is lining up correctly, then yes, the next season should end with, Luke Cage becoming mayor, but it would also go into them going after all the vigilantes, having to come together to go after Matt, because, if he does take that dark turn, as we think he will, because Elektra will be back as well, then we'll see. We will see. I don't know that they could go Shadowland with this storyline. There's so many different ways they could go. Already on the set, Charlie Cox has grown out his beard even more, which fits with the current storyline within the Daredevil comics. I'm like, ooh, they may be going there, which would be a good story if in the 3rd season Daredevil does make that turn, and then you have the vigilantes coming after him. That would give it a different angle, because if it's just him fighting against, if Kingpin is gone, then what is Daredevil doing? What is the draw if he's just going after yet another, would-be Kingpin of New York? That's going to get old. Them going after him, that takes us in a good direction.
But the way they're doing this, I appreciate it, because Jessica Jones doesn't need to have her own series and season. Iron Fist doesn't need his own show. Luke Cage doesn't need his own show. Yeah. Just go ahead and fold them into the Daredevil universe. We already know their backstory, so you don't need any type of origin storytelling or even updating them. Just fold them into the Daredevil universe. I'm good. I'm satisfied.
Yeah. And the major drop that came out today, a clip was leaked with Jessica Jones talking to Matt Murdock, talking about they came after my daughter. That line right there shook the comic universe to just its bones, because in the comic books, Luke Cage and Jessica Jones do have a child who turns out, well, in the comics at one point she was replaced with the Skrull, but they got her back, and then she's got crazy powers. There's a lot happening with this daughter, but if they're doing that, that's a major story. That can take us into all type of realms.
Well, and I think that putting Mike Coulter perhaps at the center of numerous storylines in a season 3 makes a lot of sense, because quite frankly, I think he is the best cast of all of the major characters in the Daredevil verse. Yes. He portrays the character well, and he fits a comic book vision of the character. I am not as big a fan of Charlie Cox as a lot of people. I recognize that the show is good, and I think D'Onofrio is really, really good, but I don't think that Charlie Cox is the strongest part of Daredevil. And to me, that's an inherent challenge. I think you want the title character to be the center of the universe in both a performance way and also from a storyline way. And quite frankly, I don't see how you looked at that first season of Daredevil Reborn and thought that it wasn't a Kingpin series.
Yeah, no, you're
Kingpin
right.
had all the good shit going on. And now when you've got Charlie Cox in a beard and Daredevil with a beard, it's like, why not just shave, bro? Like, I don't understand. It just makes it too easy. And obviously Kingpin knows what's up. So it's just not my thing. And so to your point, if they are going to take a darker arc with Daredevil and actually put Daredevil not on the sides of being a vigilante who's being pursued by his biggest enemy, who has a reason to try to crush him, and it's more so, here's a friend who is becoming a leader in the community who has decided that Daredevil's going too far, that is a very different dynamic. And I look forward to that, because Kingpin has been the guy. There hasn't really, I mean, Kingpin and Bullseye, I guess you could say. But, even then it was centered around Kingpin. So
Right.
to have friend versus foe or friend versus friend is definitely a different way to take the arc. And to your point, Twala, you definitely do not need, God help us, you definitely do not need another Jessica Jones series. Use Daredevil as the anchor and put all of these characters in it, and don't rebrand it as Defenders, because Defenders was ass, and just keep it in the Daredevil universe. And so it becomes kind of like, Spidey and his amazing friends, or Daredevil and his amazing buddies. That's the way to go. And clearly that's where Feige is seeing the future of these characters up
And
until we get to the point where there's
he's got all this planned out through 2030 right now. So
right.
We're pretty good with the forecasting. Quick bomb drop. A very good friend who is a major industry insider actually caught our edition of the legendary Nerd-O-Roundtable when we were discussing colorism within the Green Lantern Corps, with the casting of old boy as
Aaron Pierre
as John Stewart. He
Mufasa.
watched the episode intently. He said, he was on the floor. He was crying, he was engaged in the conversation. But he said, watch Nerdorama over the weekend. The light-skinned black Green Lantern conversation had me breaking up. FYI, that casting call was all HBO, not James Gunn. That show was planned at HBO long before Gunn was at Warner Brothers. So I'm like, interesting, because we were, trying to go in and defend James Gunn's, decision making or what could have been behind it. Turns out this is not Gunn. This is prior to Gunn.
That may be, but there's a lot of shit that was prior to Gunn, and Gunn's. I still believe Gunn had first right of refusal to say, just because it was before me, I did not approve it. I did not sign off on it.
I'm saying that the casting choice did not come from Gunn. What I'm saying is that I believe from what I'm reading into this, that it is coming out, because Gunn has canceled other stuff. He's pulled other stuff off the table. So it's not that. I believe that he saw something, and they had to have shown him something. They had to have shown him something to say, hey, before you make any calls, watch this, either the screen test, watch him do the lines, watch what we've got with this kid before you make any decisions. Because for him to come on and it already be there and still want to keep it, he had to have been feeling it.
I mean, you're not gonna like what I'm gonna say, though. I feel like Pierce is hot at the moment. He's another one.
Yeah, he's
non-problematic. Who is
what is this? What is this issue you got with non-problematic black?
Because it's the truth. Because there are. I mean, it's not just black men. I'm just saying in general. Yeah. There's no major controversy that came about him, and and he's been in some big shows, especially Mufasa.
Oh yeah. I forgot he was Mufasa. Forgot about that. Yeah, no. Look, it just, to me, is interesting, because I'm thinking that this was a casting choice, a conscious decision by James Gunn to go in this direction. And turns out he came on board, saw it and was like, oh, okay, cool. Let's run with it. Interesting enough that he is not putting as much energy behind this as he is other things that are coming up in the future. Like he did say, hey, the trail's about to drop, but he hasn't been all over this series, which is going to be coming out very freaking soon, and he's just been like, yeah, Lanterns. But okay, here's Supergirl, blah. He's dropping bombs on Supergirl because that's him. So it is interesting to see how he approaches things that are him all the way, and things that are part of a universe that he controls. Like, he's like, no, Batman or the Batman sequel, it's coming along. I have full faith. He's like, I got full faith in them to deliver, and this, that, and the other. But he's not repping it, on his shirt sleeve, like, oh, this is about to be it. So he seems very lukewarm on projects that he is not directly involved in. Because I follow him, and I look at some of the things he posted and things that are important to him, and things like the Batman and the Green Lantern series are there. He more acknowledges them more than anything, but he's He's not like, yo, get
Well,
ready.
I'm
This is
lukewarm
going
on
down.
Supergirl. I saw the trailer in
Oh, the
theaters and
new
I
one?
was just like,
I'm
this
not
Yeah.
in.
is
I'm not.
Yeah.
not
No.
what I'm interested in
Yeah.
at
The
all.
new trailer is like the new, and even seeing what they're doing with Lobo, I was like, yeah, all right, cool, I guess.
It
I mean, you
seems
know.
worse than Superman.
And Superman's in it to help pull this movie along.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not like the Supergirl character or presentation in her brief cameo in the first one. And I do appreciate that they're trying to take it in a slightly more serious direction, which I think is not a bad idea, because I didn't like the tone of the Corin Sweat Superman. I do like the fact that Lobo is in it. I think it's intriguing that the one person who is carrying over from the Snyderverse is Jason Momoa, albeit in the character he probably should have been cast in originally. So I don't know. I the idea of poisoning Crypto to drive the action, I don't love that. I and like I say, I don't mind her as an actor. I thought she was good in, what is it, Blood and Dragons, or Dragon Blood, whatever the hell. I thought she was fine there, but the bad girl badass, it's giving Jessica Jones kind of. I don't know. I'm just not enthusiastic about this. And when you see Corin Sweat in the new trailer, like, hey there, cuzzo, like what's going on with you? I'm just here on Earth and waiting for you to come back. It's like, I feel very Nigerian.
I could be surprised.
Look, we could be surprised, and
Maybe.
we could be absolutely let down, and it will be what it is. It will be what it is. I mean, worse things have happened. And there are some people that we may really, really like as actors who have been in some horrible things. Sholo Marduena, love that kid, but Blue Beetle, not it, man. It's not it.
It wasn't the worst.
Do you think you're
that
be
was
more
the
disappointed by Supergirl or Spider-Man Brand New Day?
Supergirl. I think that would be the more disappointing of the two.
I disagree.
And here's my thing. The only reason I feel that would be the thing that I think is going to be more disappointing is because I have no vested interest in it. I'm familiar with the storyline, but just as a character, I don't own any Supergirl comics. Her involvement in most anything in my DC collection has been part of crossovers. There is nothing in my collection Supergirl as far as comics go. Wonder Woman, plenty of them. You know what I'm saying? Like, so to me, it's not that I got this hate for female characters. I got the whole Vixen series. I got the whole Nubia series. Like, so this isn't I don't want to see women in it. She's wearing a skirt. No. As a character, Supergirl is fine, but Supergirl has never been like a character that I really, really was into. I think I liked the one animated film where Superman was rescuing her from Apocalypse. I thought that was a pretty good story. That the animation on that was pretty good. But they've never had a good story for Supergirl for me to be like, oh man, I'm looking forward to this. And that's why this isn't something that like when we say like who was asking for that, that's me. I'm like, what made this the next film that you come out with? Like, this weird to me. Like, who was asking for a Supergirl movie?
To be fair, the TV series wasn't until it got bad. It wasn't terrible.
No, I like the series. I like the
series until it
got. But all those series, they all just crapped out in the end. All those series just went. Fucking
Except
Flash.
one.
I loved Flash, and that shit ended on a broken ankle. That was bad the way it ended. So,
but I except Black Lightning. I think Black Lightning
truth
ended on
beginning
a good note.
Beginning to end. Black Lightning.
I mean, I don't know why we needed a Supergirl. And the only reason why I feel like this can't disappoint because I'm already in the gutter. So if we can't go further, where are we gonna go? Hell?
Okay.
Like, I mean,
I can tell you why we needed Supergirl.
Okay.
Because Gunn likes to fiddle with icons almost as much as he likes to elevate nobodies. He likes quirky characters. That's where his heart is. That's why you had all of those extra people in the Suicide Squad. That's why you created a whole universe around Peacemaker, who is an F or Q level character. That's why you had the Guardians of the Galaxy, which were low level characters.
No baggage.
And he loves
no baggage, no expectation. That's
correct. Because there's nothing to project onto them. So they're just quirky. And he decided he was going to try to deconstruct Superman and surround him with a bunch of kooky, crazy characters, which is why you get Guy Gardner, which is why you get a barely developed Hawk Girl, which is why you get a shit-talking Mr. Terrific, who was arguably the best part of that movie. And you get a Lex Luthor who behaved in decidedly un-Luthor-like fashion. And you get Metamorpho, who was played way goofier than he was ever played in the comics. In the comics, he was like an adventurer guy who had a bad circumstance. But in this movie, he was kind of a sad sack who, you know, was just concerned about his baby and blah, 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 blah. You know, oh gosh, I love the Justice Gang, you know, all that kind of silliness. That's what James Gunn does. And so now he's got Supergirl. And so you deconstruct Supergirl from being like this, you know, this avatar of strength or whatever, and a part of the L family and blah, 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 blah. And you turn her into a bit of a misfit who gets to encounter Lobo and has a goofy dog who's now super space sick. And then a bunch of, you know, like, it's not the Ravagers from the Guardians universe, but it's like this motley
the Ravager adjacent
who has to, you know, beat up in the DC universe. So it's like, that's his thing. And I love it when he's on, when he can turn Peacemaker season 1 into something that was a appointment television for me. And I enjoyed each of the Guardians films. I thought Guardians 3 had a lot of pathos. I thought it had some cool stuff going on in it. Especially with the Rocket Raccoon stuff. Great stuff. I don't have a problem with it. But when you put him in charge of an entire universe that does have some iconic characters that people have come over the past century to expect certain things from, it's really why Superman didn't work for me.
No, and because even when you look at the people that he pulled to put in Supergirl or Superman, like, you know, comic book heads, we know who Mr. Terrific is. You know what I'm saying? We know Hawk Girl. These are characters that we know and we're excited to see on screen. But these, to the general public, you think Green Lantern, the average, you know, moviegoer is not thinking Guy Gardner. You're like, and people are scratching their head like, who is this again? I thought Green Lantern looked different. Like, I don't remember this being Green Lantern. So not a lot of people, I think, were able to connect with these characters because there is no, I mean, he was creating a backstory for your film going audience. This film wasn't just for those of us who grew up with comics. It can't be, because there's not even enough of us who are going to the movies like that. You're trying to bring in younger people. That's why you give them these attitudes and give them this devil may care kind of vibe, because that is where we are with, you know, this generation of social media heads and the young people you're trying to get in there, who are those trendsetters, and the popular folks are like, I don't give a fuck either. You know what I'm saying? I like these guys. So yeah, you know, it's definitely where it's going. Because, you know, when she's, you know, constantly drunk and, you know, dogs pissing all over the place, and you look at this trailer, I'm like, this is a generation that I despise. This generation that's being represented with her.
But Tuwala, and I think this is the problem I had with James Gunn's universe so far. For as much as people talk shit about the Snyderverse, the character development in James Gunn's universe is not all that different. You had the angst-ridden Supergirl in the Snyderverse. It wasn't all that different. Maybe this one, Gunn's Supergirl, has a little more personality, but surly still. You know, to me, not all that different. And if you look at Black Adam, you have Dr. Fate and Hawkman, and you have these side characters, not majorly known, and then you have your Superman, you have Hawk Girl, and you have these, and I'll say a third tier Green Lantern in Guy Gardner.
Yep.
It doesn't feel all that different other than the color palette to me. That's all.
No, okay. That's super fair. Yeah. The color pattern. It is when you compare apples to apples. Yes, the James Gunn universe is just brighter, and he's pulling from more of a golden era, interpretation of Superman versus the more modern one. That's a little darker, a little more kind of in the gray on what is right and what is wrong and this, that, and the other that Snyder was pulling for. But me, I despise the Snyderverse just because the Snyder Bros are such assholes about their universe and what they love about it. I can't. On another note, Dr. Liz, did you get to see Mike and Nick and Alice?
I did.
All right, so everyone has seen it. This is a movie that I had no idea when Mo put this title in the chat. My first thought was, wait, what? What on earth is he talking about? He hit me up and said, T, I'm sending you a link. I need you to watch this movie. I need you to watch it now. You will thank me later. I had watched, I was up late and I just was watching that damn shitty ass ballerina movie, which I absolutely hated. That John Wick ballerina movie was ass on top of
It's not
ass.
that bad.
That movie bored me so. If I was in theaters watching that, I would have been hot as fish grease. It's like I'm in my own home and I'm like, I gotta go, I gotta leave, I can't. What am I watching right now? It bothered me.
Okay, did you still have a problem when he showed up?
I did, because even when he showed up, I was like, this is stupid, especially because it's impossible for him to be in that film because of how we saw John Wick. When we see him introduced in this film, we know exactly where he went after. There's no way he could have appeared in Ballerina. We know everything that he did after that appearance that he had in this, the first clip that he's introduced to in Ballerina. We know where he went right after that. Right after that clip, he went to Sub-Sahara Africa or Egypt or Cairo.
With a table.
With the table. He went after them. He did not have time to go to Yugoslavia or whatever to go help out some random ass, nobody ass ballerina John Wick wannabe. He didn't have the time. Not even, and because everything happened in John Wick happened, right after it was all sequential. There were no detours. So him being in the film, I was like, what was this about? Like, what are you doing? You all know that we watched the John Wick films, right? You know that. So Ballerina pissed me off. I was ready to go to bed. And then this is on Saturday night, but I said, you know what? I know we're going to talk about this Mike and Nick and Alice. I want to watch it so that I'm familiar with the film. Popped it on. About 10 minutes in, I'm like, okay, this is interesting. And then a knock at the door and oh shit. I'm like, this is crazy. Can't tell you if we tell you anything about it, it's going to give it away. This is a film where you've got to go in eyes wide, because not knowing anything about it at all, not reading anything, not seeing a trailer, this film was an absolute treat. Yeah. I was crying. The film is an hour 47. It took me like 2.5 hours to watch because of how many times I was laughing my ass off and had to rewind like, what the fuck did they just say?
Keith David is a treasure.
Comedy gold.
Now, I will give you that, because from the very beginning of the movie, from his first scene, the range of vacillating between joy and menace and hey, have a good time, motherfuckers. He's got a great voice. He had a great personality. What I will say is that I liked the characters, and I especially liked the female actor who didn't fall prey to some of the tropes that you might expect in a movie like this, which has a sci-fi premise, but also, this mob thing going on. I will say that I'm not as enthusiastic as Mo and Twala. I did enjoy it. I did. And I think one of my challenges is what happens at the very end, because I think the information revealed at the very end is something that would have made a lot more sense to be revealed much earlier in the script, as soon as the character who ends up making the revelation at the end is exposed to some critical information as soon as that character is introduced to the underlying premise that should have taken the story in a completely different direction.
In other words, that character you think should have jumped in and said, hey, we don't need to do all this. We could do that.
Yep. Especially when that character had a moment about that character's relationship to another character. It seems to me that the entire movie should have gone in a different direction. And then the other part of it is that I mean, I don't think it's too much of a spoiler, since Nick and Nick are both in the name of the movie, and there is a poster showing to the guy's name, whatever.
Vince Vaughn.
Vince Vaughn. There's two Vince Vaughn, so it shouldn't be too much of a spoiler. What I will say is that I was a bit confused at the passage of time based on his appearance as Nick in the first scene, and then the later appearance. It seemed to me that it was a very uncertain time frame of the first appearance, when we realized that we are in what is supposed to be the now.
Yeah,
I wasn't entirely sure it wasn't the 80s until
because of the music
later. Well,
because of the
music hit what he was wearing. He
the aesthetic for sure.
His aesthetic was very much in the Casino, Scorsese era of how I would expect a gangster to dress. And then when we see him again, it's turtleneck and camel coat. And I was like, oh, so clearly this is much, much further in the blank. And then it's like, oh, okay, I guess. Okay. But it didn't stop me from enjoying the movie. And again, when, it owes a bit to a lot of other sci-fi movies that deal with time.
Yeah.
Especially Back to the Future.
Yes, self-aware.
Very, very clearly self-aware. And when what happens at the end happens, I thought it was a very deft way to handle it. And I was waiting for how they were going to deal with it, because at a certain point you realize what's going to happen. And I was waiting to see how they were going to deal with it. And I thought they handled it very, very well. But that said, you turn into the same exact cop-out that we had in Contact, if you remember that sci-fi movie, which was predicated on a Carl Sagan book.
Yeah.
So it's like, oh, well, gee. And it's like, so why did we just this seriously?
No, you're right.
That was that, and up until that point, I was like, oh, consequences. Okay, got it. Didn't understand why they had to make the choice that they did at the after party. That seemed excessive. For
I liked it over the top.
Yeah.
No, it was fine, but I just didn't understand why those characters ended up feeling like they had to make that choice. And I also didn't understand how the circumstance with the pyro expert, I didn't understand why that was so important, and it ultimately didn't really go anywhere because that information didn't change the vector of the movie really at all.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. It's hard to talk about everything without giving away.
Well, that's
something.
what I'm saying. I'm just saying the person who really did the thing that drove the action, we never meet that character, and we don't see any consequences for why, other than the fact that it sets up
It's
the other character.
Yeah,
That's it.
That was just, for me. It was like it was the running joke in Pulp Fiction. What's in the briefcase? It was a MacGuffin. It was a plot device. You didn't need to see that person.
Sure, and also, if you're gonna do this cross-racial whatever, I do not like the actor who played the son.
Oh, I did.
I love Joey.
Oh, I thought it was perfect.
He always plays the exact same character. It was the same character from The Machine. It was the same character from Scream 7. It was the same. He plays the same idiot.
Oh, I haven't seen those movies
all the time.
I'm not familiar with
If you see The Machine, especially The Machine, he owes a lot. This character owes a lot to the character.
Come on, you telling me that the story of how father became father and son became son didn't lay you out?
Crying?
No. That was a great moment. It was.
Oh man.
And when we finally find out that he was a single father and all this, but then again, that kid is dumb as shit.
Not as dumb as Tony.
I know you love your
son. Not as dumb as Tony.
I don't know. Honestly, dumbass Tony was just a little, like socially awkward, but this dude was he was dumb. He was really dumb.
I think it's supposed to be. He's supposed to be.
He was Fredo
for who his dad is. Yeah, he's supposed to.
Fredo.
Yeah.
But it did hew very closely to a lot of gangster movies, and you could pick out. There were intentional tropes.
Absolutely.
Of, this is the gangster mob archetype, and you have the bumbling son. That to me made it more enjoyable because it is acknowledging the gangster lore that we all know that is part of this movie, that a movie doesn't take itself too damn seriously.
Yeah.
I guess, okay, so what I will give you on that particular topic is that by the time you realize he's an idiot, you already love the hell out of him. So it's too late at that point. Because you don't know how stupid a child really is until after they're like in first grade. And so by that time, you loved him for 4.5 years.
I got one word for you. With the whole scene with whole cartoons and comeuppance was laugh out loud funny.
Oh man,
I'm not saying it wasn't. I'm not saying it wasn't. And the fact that he could not use context clues for comeuppance fucking killed me. I was like, if I had a son that's stupid, I would be like, you know what?
I don't know cartoons. You don't know big words. It's all good.
Right. That was fine and sure. Yeah. I enjoyed it. I'm not gonna say I didn't enjoy it. I definitely laughed.
I also want to cheer into. I think it's important to put an ode into "See You Yesterday," which reminds me of and that is my show. Anyway, I thought it was enjoyable. I have to admit, I like dry humor. So Van and his dry humor just will always catch me. I was stuck on the part, I like the concept that the nervousness, and I didn't realize that you can get out of the mob.
I think that's just a movie plot point.
No, I just thought it was interesting in the sense of he's like, I'm retiring from the mob. And the whole time he's thinking, you about to kill me. That
I thought so too, though. Concept. I think that for me watching it, I'm like, man, dude, I didn't know. I think that's what I enjoyed, but I did not know where it was going because the whole time I kept waiting for the other shoe to drop. I kept thinking something nefarious was going to happen, and even at one point where we were led to believe it did, I was like, oh shit, they really did it, and then it didn't. I'm like, oh wow. Look, I thoroughly enjoyed it, and I was ready to go to bed. I was tired. Put it on. And I was watching it just to watch, so I could say like I don't want to be left out on this one. Mo was giving it massive praise. I got to check it out, and I think I had to text 3 a.m. like, "Yo, this is it. Like this movie is everything you promised." Yes.
Look, even had a fun cameo in it. Obviously the person was free for like 45 minutes. because that's all it took to film that person's scenes. For me, and Twala and I talked about this on the phone, would love to see the outtakes, would love to see the stuff that didn't make it into the movie, because there's scenes, nobody breaks characters. Like, how the fuck are you not breaking character with some of these lines in these stories? And is all this scripted, or they just have a framework of how the scene's supposed to go and they're just improvising? Because it seemed like when they're telling the story of, let's just say, the foundling, that just seemed like it was completely unscripted and they were just riffing.
Yes.
and
Vince
Keith
Vaughn,
David was great.
Man. Vince Vaughn, his deadpan humor, every single thing he was saying, I'm cracking up. I'm like, this dude is comedy gold right now, and he's not trying to. These characters aren't necessarily trying to be funny, but the shit that they're saying is just hilarious because they say it so matter of factly. You're like, yo, I'm in tears, man. I haven't laughed that hard on a movie in a minute.
And the CGI or whatever it was to make Nick and Nick, it was so believable.
It was.
It felt like there were two different actors in those scenes. And that's why it worked for me. I wasn't struggling trying to think like, okay, it wasn't like Jean-Claude Van Damme, and you could tell that they were
just put
the scene together.
One had a tank top and the other had a t-shirt.
Right. I completely found myself accepting that those are two different people.
Absolutely.
For sure.
Before we hit that hour mark, Dr. Liz, I absolutely positively have got to hear about Super Mario. Is it Super Mario and the World Bridge? Galaxy. Super Mario Galaxy. Look, I did not play Super Mario. I did not play the game.
What?
I am someone who, anytime I tried to play with my younger brother, he would always pick me up and throw me at shit. So I couldn't play. Me and video games were never friends. But I used to go to the arcade with him and just give him quarters because I wanted to see him finish these games. And look, so I've watched him over the years playing Super Mario, doing all these damn things. And so far, I'm hearing that this movie is like they took the video game and just put a whole bunch of scenes on the big screen. What was your take on Super Mario Brothers?
First of all, the popcorn bucket game is just out of this world. I did that last week. But the LED lights. There are 5 of them. 4 or 5.
What? That's just a light?
Yeah.
Is that a popcorn bucket?
Oh, no. Of course it's a popcorn bucket. What are you talking about? Like, what are we talking about? What are we doing here? It's orange. I got the last
that's dope. I thought it was just a light. I'm like, is that like a squishy?
At my...
Oh, snap.
At my thing. Not only that... When I tell you, first of all, whoever is doing the marketing when it comes to these popcorn buckets for Mario, give me hand clap. We got the cup going that went with the bucket. If you got the kids pack, you got the blanket and the toy and the popcorn and the drink cup is a little Mario cup. I mean, and when I tell you, they put a lot of thought into it. I got the other bucket, the metal one, that has a cute little coin thing that goes with it that is supposed to, that attaches to it. Look, it's not a coin thing, but it's a little cauldron for that he made soup in. Look, when I tell you top tier, I asked them, how long did it take for you guys to sell out? They said it took 48 hours to sell out of the LED light ones. It took 24 hours to sell out of Yoshi. And Yoshi was $60. So, I mean, people were paying.
You're playing $60 for the Yoshi.
But it also came with a cup.
Damn.
You got a large
popcorn.
popcorn.
Cheaper than Fantastic Four.
That's true.
That's true.
That is true.
That's true.
These were 40, 35 or 36. Look, it gave me nothing. But okay, you talked about the movie. The movie, I think it's better than the second one. I mean, the first one. But I can respect both of them. equally. My kids played more of the Mario Kart stuff, but
Okay.
really so Mario Kart was more in the first movie and not in this one. If you've ever played anything when it comes to Super Mario, even if you just watched it, I just love how they incorporated a lot of the game into the scenes to make it really believable. I mean, I loved it. And interesting, my husband really didn't like it at all, but I was like, I'm older than you by a couple of years. I was a Super
Damn, you hit him with
Mario
the
kid.
age? You sunned him? Oh
No, but
man.
I'm just saying, we are just
Cougar.
different.
Wow.
I
We're
think it's
different.
important.
And so
It's go ahead,
I'm
Liz.
just saying, this just hits differently. And then when they had the surprise guest that lets you know there's going to be a crossover happening, I was like,
Really?
oh my gosh. Now, if you are a person who was older in the 80s, now I was younger in the 80s, but if you watched Channel 13 cartoons, you are familiar. Now, the kids in the room were like, who's this? But the adults in the
Mm.
room were like, what? And so I just thought it does a really good job at giving an ode to those of us. I mean, I literally had a tear in my eye at one of the scenes. You remember when you get closer to the end of the video game and when you're jumping through the fire to jump over to get to the see,
Sure.
I need John Constantine. When you're
Yeah.
jumping over. Anyway, there's a scene where Mario in the video game that you're jumping over the fire and you're getting to the part where you're trying to rescue the princess. And the fact that they recreated this to a T, to where and they inserted the video game footage on like the scene where they were trying to manipulate the Mario character. So you got to see, if you never played the game, then you get to see why they came up with this idea. But before the game showed up for me, I instantly knew what part of the video game this was because it took you
Interesting.
back to the late 80s, early 90s video game. And I was saying this today to someone. I was like, look, I grew up on Mario. He came out 3 years. I was 3 years old when Mario first came out. Like, my whole life has been Mario. So it's kind of a cool thing that you have a really good production of something that is carefully crafted to fan lore.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I think it's important to point out that from the earliest presentations of the Mario character in Donkey Kong and then Super Mario Brothers, where it was essentially a side scroller, once the N64 came out, they started taking the franchise in a much different place. And by the time Super Mario World came out on, I don't know if it was Switch or whatever it was, but it was real storytelling. Mario used to be just a side scroller where you're jumping on stuff and standing on mushrooms and shooting things and da 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 da. And then the whole Mario Kart thing took off in its own way of creating a cool racing dynamic and blah blah blah. But by the time you got to Super Mario World, you actually had a story where there's goals that the character needs to do, and it's not just as pat as the original presentation. And when you got to Super Mario Galaxy, you expanded things even more with the different outfits and the different things and what he's got to do. And there was a period with Paper Mario. Basically, this character undergirds the entire Nintendo franchise. It's like Mario and Link, basically. And those are the two big universes that kind of dominate Nintendo world. And so Zelda has always been, I think, more cinematic in terms of scope, but in terms of visual splendor and appeal and dazzle and brightness and all of these sorts of things that kind of work on the big screen, because Link doesn't talk. So Super Mario, Mario does talk. And so it's a lot easier to create something that doesn't break the suspension of disbelief, because you have to have dialogue in movies. And so it's easy to hear, "It's a Mario." And I don't like Chris Pratt, but I understand why this movie would do very well. And because it's one of the few video games that really advanced from its core premise into some actual story building. Sonic kind of did the same thing. Sonic was obviously generations after Super Mario, and it was a side scroller that ended up going into the 3D space and then advancing the lore, and Mr. Eggman or Dr. Robotnik, and Shadow Sonic and Mecha Sonic and all these other sorts of things, Knuckles and Tails, that expanded the lore. So Super Mario has done the same thing. And it makes sense. After the first one did so well, it certainly made sense that you would make a sequel. And by exploding the sequel into the galaxy aspect of the game, it was a natural segue. And so I get it. I just intensely dislike the core actor. So
that's fair. They just dropped a first look images of Link and Zelda for the live action Legend of Zelda film. I've never played Legend of Zelda. I'm not 100% sure of what it's about. But the characters, the actors look just like, I'm like, they look so much like I would imagine the characters to be like from the cover of some of the video games. I'm like, are these AI generated or are these real people? Because they look dead ass like Zelda video game characters.
Here's the thing. In my opinion, I feel like when it came to Nintendo, when Nintendo first came out, you're very limited on what you could play. So it was this the duck one that you're shooting, and then it became this Zelda character. I wasn't into Zelda, like Tom says. It just isn't. It wasn't as I don't know. It just wasn't as interesting. I preferred Mario.
Zelda is about puzzles. There is action in it, especially in the current version. So Wind Waker and these other sorts of things. It's a pretty game, and there's a lot of strategy in it, because you can beat the game, but until you get all the little seeds and accomplish all the missions, you haven't really beaten the game. So there is a high degree of replay value, and it really is about solving different things. It's less like an action. I mean, there are action elements, of course, but the action is all in service of trying to figure out how to defeat a certain mission, how to defeat a certain foe so that you can continue advancing through the game. Whereas Super Mario was more about the mechanics of hopping and timing and shooting and these sorts of things. So it's more about your ability to master the command sequences, whereas Zelda is more of a contemplative. It's an open architecture game. It's not linear. You can do whatever. You can roam the beautiful world. And, they have other bits of Zelda where after you've played it one time, now you can go back and you can play it like from the underworld aspect. So it flips the whole game on you. And so it'll be interesting to see how Zelda is going to work. I feel like there's been a Zelda cartoon.
I'm sure there was.
I think so.
I'm sure.
I feel like there's got to be. But Link is the main character in Zelda, and he's got it in the land of Hyrule, and he's got the sword and the shield, and the latest versions of the game have really done some pretty remarkable things with the universe, especially since in the open architecture of it. So it'll be interesting to see. But again, I'm not going to clamor to see either of these.
No. Yeah.
But
I mean, look, I didn't play video games, so for me, there is no running out to go and see a video game film. Like I didn't run out to go see Tomb Raider, and even the new Tomb Raider homegirl that they cast, she's just not giving me Tomb Raider. And cast a homegirl who's the Phoenix, that actress.
Yeah, from Game
Yep.
of Thrones.
But
Yeah.
see, I walked away thinking, okay, you might as well just give me everything. So if we're gonna do crossovers, you might as well just give me, uh, fill in the blank. Give me a
Is
ring of
Pac-Man in
right.
the same world as Mario?
No.
No,
Oh, okay.
Pac-Man
No,
is
Pac-Man is Namco, and Mario is Nintendo.
Nintendo. Yeah, totally different.
Okay. Look. I going to the arcade. I was a button masher, so I was somewhat successful at Street Fighter because I would just smash those buttons and keep doing wild shit. Sometimes my back would be turned to who I'm playing, and I'd be doing Hadoukens at the side of the screen and trying to figure out how to turn around and do I'm a button masher, so me and video games never. My brothers owned every video game system that has ever come out, handheld, in home, whatever. I was never interested. Never. Couldn't get down. So that's that. Real quick before we get out of here, Dr. Liz, what you watching on Apple TV?
Okay, I actually wasn't gonna bring up anything on Apple TV, but there are some good shows.
Okay, well, what are you watching then?
I went to see Zendaya's movie.
The drama?
And that's what the drama. And I highly encourage you to watch it. I went at 10 o'clock at night, and the entire movie theater was packed. So word is spreading about this movie. And I'm gonna tell you what's so interesting is that it is nothing like truly what you get from the preview. The preview is telling me a whole different thing. It's really about, without spoiling, because I do want you to see it, it is about 4 adults. They're interracial couples. And I think that's point to the story. Interesting, Carmichael is in it, which I thought that was a takeaway. That's an interesting takeaway. Anyway, you have 4 people, and they are telling their deepest, darkest secret, the worst thing that they've ever done. And it balloons into, can he ever get over what her deepest, darkest secret is? And her maid of honor can't get over it.
Man, I'm like,
no, it's not. It's not even about sex. I was
okay.
so fascinated by, like, why don't I care so much? I actually cared more about, I'll spoil this a little bit, and it's not that much of a spoiler, but her maid of honor, her deepest, darkest secret is that she happened to go out into the middle of the forest to be in this place with this little boy who, her words, is slow. And she got scared, and she locked him in the closet and ran away and never told anybody where he was. And they had a whole search party for looking for him. They found him a day or two later. And she's like, oh, well, I was going to tell everybody. People asked her where he was, and she didn't tell him. The dad came over, and she didn't tell him. And I'm like, that's terrible. But for some reason, she thinks that the main character, what she did was worse. And so it turns into this whole, they're about to get married on Friday. All of these different things are happening. Will they get married on Friday? And then it ends with the wedding and what happens at the wedding, which becomes its own thing. I was stunned at where this movie went. I was surprised that no real genuine leaks came out of the trailers, anything. I didn't know where it was going to go. I had no idea how it ended, like where it was going to take me. It's an hour and 40 minutes. I cringed. I chuckled, and I thought it's a good watch. It's a good little watch, and I highly recommend it. And
That's
it says
her and Batman, right?
Yeah, and it's the most money that A24 is, the biggest opening for A24 films.
No, okay.
If that means
No,
anything.
no. I don't watch A24 films really. Not a lot of them, but I know they do good weird shit. I hated that movie with the dude and with the other Robert Pattinson movie where he kept dying. The Mickey 17. Hated that.
That was horrible. That was
Trash.
horrible.
God awful.
But did you see
God.
Civil War? I enjoyed Civil
No,
War.
I didn't see that one.
I
didn't
hated
see
that
I enjoyed
movie.
Civil War.
Okay.
So
I know. See, they do that. They do those, and sometimes I'm like, nah, not in the movie, not in the movie theater, not really at home.
Well,
What you
but to
watching,
me,
Tal?
it opens up questions about what is interracial dating like. It opens up questions about race that you have to have a conversation with. It opens up questions about secrets. Like it's a conversation starter kind of a movie, which I think is a really good
Yeah.
thing. So
Yeah, in today's climate, absolutely. Cunningham.
I am still very invested in High Potential. That is the only broadcast television show that I make time for every week. It's really coming into its own, and they are taking some significant liberties between the French original show, which was presented as the quirky genius and the straight-laced detective who immediately basically falls in love with her. We're almost at the end of season 2, and there are situations that would appear to drive the characters together, but they are not taking the bait really. And there have been several points in this season where I've just really been amazed at what these characters are doing. And so this last episode was another one that had a lot going on with a lot of different characters. And I'm just very pleased with the way it's developing. And like I said last week, Jennifer Jason Leigh, who's been in a whole bunch of stuff, but I think the thing that she was really, really good in Hateful Eight, actually. But I think the thing that kind of reintroduced her to audiences, it's got to be almost 30 years ago, was Single White Female. So she is from that era of actor who has come back into her own as a character actor of a certain age. And she's kind of a big bad. She's in the middle of an arc right now. It's been 3 episodes where her character has been introduced and then layered on. And so she's turning out to be a major player in this season. So excited about her and always love to keep track of the show.
What you watching, Mo?
I am watching the Avengers Doomsday trailer if they ever bring this motherfucker out. If they ever bring it out. We're about 8 months out. Robert Downey Jr. had this cryptic Easter eggs post that he put up on Instagram. And there's no reason for him to put up anything like that unless there is some sort of nod to Doomsday. There's no other reason.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
And I'm starting to get pissed because I didn't really care for the 4 teasers. It's like we knew the movie was coming. Okay, so there was the reveal, the Fantastic Four, the Thing, and Wakanda. You know, they're gonna meet up, and Captain America, Chris Evans is back. But other than that, there was really nothing special about those 4 teaser trailers. We're being led to believe that the main trailer is coming soon. So hopefully between now and the next time we meet, we will have seen the Avengers Doomsday trailer. If not, I'm going to pitch a bitch, okay? Because
hopefully,
they're dragging it out at this point. And the normal promotion of movies, we would have had 1 trailer by now.
At least a teaser. At least a teaser.
A legitimate trailer.
Yeah. Leading into like another 2 months from now, an actual trailer. But yeah, they're bullshitting right now. And I know they're supposedly doing some reshoots or whatever, but that should have nothing to do with dropping a trailer. Nothing to do with that.
Mo, you mentioned the Easter eggs. Can you identify each of the eggs? Because there's one that's a little confusing to me.
I didn't look that close. I didn't want to get too many hints. I'm being very serious.
Which one?
The one at the very front The red egg with the orange pattern.
That's Shang-Chi.
That's what I thought.
Yeah.
I figured that was Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
That was the one that I was a little less certain of.
Yeah, and looking all over, I got them all except for, because there's the X-Men egg that's so prominent at the top. There's another yellow egg way over in the corner. If you're looking at it way over to the left, I thought that was an X-Men logo, but it's not. It's yellow and blue, and I couldn't make out.
Oh, no, that's
what
Doctor
that one is.
Strange.
No, Doctor Strange is over on the other side.
I thought you said the left-hand side.
Well, I mean, if I'm looking at it, it's on the left.
You're talking about the blue egg that has the yellow outline with the red spaces in between it?
Yeah.
That's
Is
not
that
the
Dr.
Sanctum Sanctorum?
Oh, snap. Yes, Tom, you're right. You're right. Oh, okay,
Yeah.
good. Then I'm good. Yeah, then I'm good. Yeah, then I got them all. Yes, now that I had to turn it, because you know what? When I was looking at it, it looked like part of an X coming out. And I was
yeah.
is that a jacked up X? I'm like, it can't be. There's already the X egg on there. So, all right. Okay, cool. I'm good. Doctor Strange. Boom. And I like how they threw in Spider-Man, got Loki, got all the main players on here. So I'm like, okay, it's going to be a good time. And yeah, this is going to be a good time. If they don't drop a trailer, then they're bullshitting and they're hiding something.
Right.
And I'll tell you this.
So why
I'll tell you this.
spider trailers, spider eggs?
You said
What?
Why are there 2 spider eggs?
There's not.
That's
There's Ant-Man.
Oh, Ant-Man.
Spider-Man.
Yeah.
Yeah. My thing is, and this is another reason why my excitement is tempered by the fact that the only thing that the Russo brothers have ever done that I've liked have been their initial Avengers projects. The Russos have not directed and or produced a single thing worth a damn. Not a single thing worth a damn. Every last one of their projects are ass.
What was that
Absolute
Netflix
ass.
bullshit they did?
You're not talking about that one with Chris
Electric
Pratt
State.
and Electric State?
That was horrible.
One of the worst movies ever made. Electric State was bad. The damn 21 Gun Salute or whatever they did with Chadwick Boseman, the cop movie.
21 Bridges.
21 Bridges. That was trash. The damn Gray Man, trash. They produced.
No, wait a minute. I actually enjoyed the Gray Man.
Nah.
For
The Gray Man was bad.
I don't even remember it.
It was action shooting, CIA.
Yeah, the one with Ryan Gosling and Chris
And
Evans.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, trash.
Yeah, I just don't remember it. It wasn't memorable.
Yeah. The one that they produced with Millie Bobby Brown at being the princess, it's not good. Not a good movie. Where she was the damsel.
Damsel, I never watched it.
I guess I never
Didn't
saw that.
didn't they also do 16? Was it 16 blocks or 30 something?
21 Bridges.
21
No,
bridges.
it's 21 Bridges.
Yeah, no, that was bad, Liz. That was a Chadwick Boseman film, and it was really bad. It wasn't even good by NY whatchamacallit. Look, no, I'm sorry. Look, that was just a bad movie, and
He's
they
done
should have put a brother
worse.
in it. So to me, the Russos, they do not have a solid track record of filmmaking. They just don't. So them coming back to me is like,
I mean, Winter Soldier is still amazing.
Did they do that?
No,
I thought they did.
I don't think so.
No. They didn't do Winter Soldier. No.
We can look that up right now. I'm pretty sure they did.
I'm looking it up now. Yeah, the Russos.
Direct and written?
Yeah.
What?
Sure did. They didn't even write it. It was from a screenplay by Christopher Marcus and Stephen McFeely.
That's what I'm thinking of. Okay.
But they directed it. That's what really put them on the map. I think that's what got them Infinity War and Endgame.
Well, then I feel a little bit better because McFeely is writing Doomsday. So there's still that partnership team there.
Okay.
There you go.
Okay. All right. If that partnership is coming back, okay. Look, am I gonna see it? Yeah, but right now, I don't see what this, for me, at least for where we're at in this cinematic universe, where we're at, why you're dropping this bomb of a movie right now when every other big movie there was a massive lead up to them. There were films that led up to the big event films, and so far none of the films that we've seen, they've all been in their own separate corner. So to say that all these films and projects that have been in their own separate corner are going to come together for Doomsday is just a bit weird, because it's all loosey goosey, and it's like, why would any of these projects come together? None of them had anything to do with each other except for the fact that they were in the same universe. Why are they all coming together for this film, this big of a storyline? This is going into Secret Wars, one of the tent poles of Marvel comicdom. And so this is something where I'm looking at, like, I can't pick any film or series that has any level of connectivity to go into a film where they're all coming together for any real discernible reason.
Just to be clear, they did not direct 21 Bridges.
No, that's what I said. Direct or produce. Direct or produce. They've been a part. Everything that they've touched has been ass outside of their initial Marvel run. Everything they've touched.
You didn't like Extraction? The original Extraction?
No, and I remember talking shit about it on there.
Yeah, it was not a good movie.
They produced everything everywhere all at once.
I didn't see that.
Were they a producer?
No, they produced it.
Yeah, but they didn't direct it.
No, but you picked 21 Bridges like they directed that shit, and they did.
Well, but put it this way, it's like Ryan Coogler. Just because he puts his name on something, it doesn't mean that it's good.
But for me, like, I didn't see Everything Everywhere All at Once. I know it won an Oscar, but I
enjoyed it. I enjoyed Everything Everywhere All at Once.
Yeah. That's a good movie.
Okay. Hey, look, I'll have to take your word for it. At this point, I may go back and watch it.
I mean, it's available to stream. I'm just saying it's a worthy movie to watch, and that's a a movie.
Okay.
Fuck it. Right. I'm not gonna try to.
So they got one in there. It's just their track record is still rather shitty after Marvel, after walking out of Marvel Studio and packing up their shit and leaving. They did a string of really subpar productions and directing jobs. They're just really subpar. Their decision making was subpar.
Well, and to that same theme, there's a reason Chris Evans is back in Marvel.
Yes,
because he made a string of bullshit after he.
He did.
Well, let's be
with the exception of Knives Out, but that was a true ensemble film.
No. Let's be real. Robert Downey Jr. Yes, Oppenheimer, but everything he did outside of Marvel, including Dr. Dolittle and all that shit, did not hit.
Well, Sherlock Holmes. That
did not hit.
Franchise. Sherlock Holmes did fine.
Yeah, both of those did good. But they were also within.
Both, not Dr. Dolittle.
No. Both of the
Sherlock Holmes movies.
Okay, yeah.
Both of those did good, which is why everyone was surprised he didn't come back and do another one, because both him and Jude Law are within the age where they could. But outside of that,
now they've got young Sherlock Holmes, which is actually not bad.
No. I don't know. A lot of folks from the Marvel Cinematic Universe have not done much outside. I mean, Chris Evans, he keeps getting stuff.
Right.
Have they been hits? He just keeps getting stuff.
Chris Hemsworth is working.
Yeah, he's
but
working.
I don't know.
I mean, he's just working. He keeps getting movies, and it's like you watch these movies. You're like
Mission what is it? Mission Impossible.
The Men in Black.
Men in Black.
Men in Black. That was
and Crime 101 was it's okay.
I liked Crime 101,
but those are the movies he's doing.
Terrible.
The movies that Chris Evans are doing are like, oh yeah, that was cool. That was cool.
The only one who's really doing decent.
I like the action in both of the Extraction films, but they're not necessarily good movies.
No,
those action sequences are stunning. But are they good movies? Nah.
Well, the only one that's doing pretty good is the girl who plays Valcom.
Tessa Thompson.
Tessa Thompson.
Yeah.
I guess Brie Larson's doing okay.
Is she doing what?
He said in what?
She's in that?
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She's the princess.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, she's in Mario.
Oh, okay.
That's right, yeah.
Look, I didn't know what she was doing. I mean, people dislike her for some reason. They hate this lady, and I don't know why, but I didn't know if she was doing anything.
Yeah.
The only thing I can remember seeing her in outside of any of the Marvel movies was the damn King Kong movie. I'm struggling to think of anything else she was in. I'm not familiar.
In that
She's in a lot.
room. She got her Oscar whatever for that Room movie.
Oh, did she? Okay.
I never saw it.
And then also she
I
was
didn't
in
see
that
it either. I just know that she was supposedly amazing in it.
Lessons in Chemistry. She's which is
She's very good in that. It's a weird character, but she's very good in that.
Very good.
Look, props to her, man. Look, I don't necessarily have a problem with her. I think she's great casting as Captain Marvel. I think for who Captain Marvel is in the comics, she's great. A lot of people like Captain Marvel, you know, her character, she's flat, unlikable. I'm like, she's not likable in the comics. She's not liked by any of the Avengers. They really don't like her. And she's they just don't like her. Okay. I'll just say that. So, all right, cool. Well, you know, hey, look.
Maybe it's the men who's having problems, but it's not the women.
No. I don't know.
And Michael B. Jordan.
Oh, shit. Okay. Okay.
On
Right,
that
on that note, take us out, Dr. Liz.
Good night, everyone.
Bo Kelly.
Oh yeah, I'm all about comeuppance. I love comeuppance.
My man said, I'm sorry. I don't know what comeuppance means. I'm telling you, you gotta watch Mike and Nick and Alice. Tom.
Where is my Nick or my new Nick suit?
Excelsior. I love it.
Oh my God, I gotta go.